Welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu, and on sign language is Precious Ozemene. Let's begin with the headlines. National Assembly approves declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. Emergency authorities confirm deaths in Wednesday's truck crash explosion at Karu Bridge. Plus, United Kingdom hosts closed meeting of senior military leaders from Coalition of the Willing. Justice Gabor's military leader announces intention to run for president. Nigeria's Senate has approved President Tinubu's proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State in line with provisions of Section 305 of the Constitution. The approval came after an executive session. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Received briefing from the President of the Senate on the circumstances of the proclamation of a state of emergency declared by Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President, Commander-in-Chief, Federal Republic of Nigeria, on the state of affairs in Rivers State. And the Senate resolved as follows. 1. The Senate invokes the powers conferred on it by Section 305, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and approve the proclamation of state of emergency declared by Mr. President in Rivers State of Nigeria. The Senate further directs that the declaration of the state of emergency stated in the proclamation document and the mandate of Mr. President to review, and hereby mandates the President to review and even to terminate the state of emergency at any given time, but not later than 6 months. The Senate further resolved that Section 11, subsection 4 be invoked, providing the National Assembly the authority to set up. The Senate invokes the powers conferred on it by Section 305, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and approve the proclamation of state of emergency declared by Mr. President in Rivers State of Nigeria. The Senate further directs that the declaration of the state of emergency stated in the proclamation document and the mandate of Mr. President to review, and hereby mandates the President to review and even to terminate the state of emergency at any given time, but not later than 6 months. The Senate further resolved that Section 11, subsection 4 be invoked, providing the National Assembly the authority to set up a joint ad hoc committee of both chambers to oversight the administration of Rivers State henceforth.
A full package of that report will be brought to you subsequently. In a similar vein, the House of Representatives has approved the declaration of a state of emergency for Rivers State, along with the 6-month suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and all elected members of the State Assembly, as announced by President Bola Tinubu. This followed a unanimous voice votes in favor of the presidential proclamation. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Iben reports.
Those against say nay. That is have it. Any more contributions? Any more contributions? So we put the question. Are we ready for the question? Are we ready? Those in support of this request of Mr. President as amended should say aye. Aye. Those in support of this request from Mr. President as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Thank you very much. Clark.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has lauded the National Assembly for its decisive and patriotic ratification of the state of emergency proclamation in Rivers State, a critical step to restoring stability after a protracted political crisis that paralyzed governance in the state and endangered national economic security and for over 15 months. The president specifically commended the National Assembly's leadership, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, other principal officers and members for prioritizing the security and welfare of Rivers State people above partisan interests and other considerations. He further acknowledged the lawmakers' diligent review of classified security briefings, underscoring the urgent need for intervention to prevent further escalation. The president affirmed that the 6-month emergency will empower the newly appointed sole administrator to stabilize Rivers State, address systemic breakdowns, and facilitate dialogue among conflicting parties. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuggar says the federal government will expedite action to accelerate the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project and various projects across key sectors of the economy, making Nigeria a hub for investment globally. Garbanata Allah reports that the Foreign Affairs Minister gave the assurance while speaking at the ongoing ministerial briefing on the first quarter of 2025 under review by the present administration. Through diplomatic channels, his ministry attracted investments into Nigeria between the last 3 months of 2024 and the first quarter of 2025, recently including Brazil, India, the United States and the United Kingdom, China, Morocco and Algeria.
There is, of course, the African Atlantic Gas Pipeline, which is the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline that has been adopted by ECOWAS. The agreements are ready to be signed, and this would see Nigerian gas, since we have 207 trillion cubic feet of it, delivered all the way to Morocco through 15 countries. And Morocco is tied to Europe through the Maghreb line. So this presents an opportunity, and it's part of the dialogue we're also having with the Americans, because they can come and domesticate and invest, first of all, in building the pipeline, and then utilize the gas for artificial intelligence. That's their big tech.
Gave more insights into landmark achievements of his ministry recorded towards repositioning Nigeria's footprints among the Committee of Nations.
We will deal with whoever we want to, whichever country we want to, based on our national interests and based on certain treaty and obligations and agreements that we've entered into, either bilaterally or multilaterally. And that's why, even though we may differ with certain countries, we still find ourselves on the same page on other issues.
President Tinubu, as a foremost Democrat, is fully committed to protecting the constitutionally guaranteed rights of all Nigerians. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the 5th edition of the 2025 ministerial press briefing, re-emphasized that the president remains a Democrat whose doors are wide open to constructive criticism and healthy opposition. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Honorable Minister of Information. Ahead of the second-year anniversary of the renewed Hope government, this platform is an opportunity for members of the Federal Executive Council to give account of stewardship as being coordinated by the Ministry of Information and National Orientation.
It equally serves as a platform to keep Nigerians informed about the ongoing policies and programs of the Tinubu administration to foster active citizens' engagement in the nation's governance process.
As the Nigerian Union of Journalists commemorates its 70th anniversary, the government spokesperson reassured press freedom in Nigeria.
I hereby take the liberty to reaffirm the commitment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to upholding press freedom and creating a conducive environment for the media to practice in this country. This administration believes that a free and responsible press is essential for good governance, transparency, and national development.
So far, 9 ministers featured in the 2025 edition of the Ministerial Press Briefing in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
National Judicial Council, NJC, has described as false media reports that the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, has ordered the release of the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, and his repatriation to Kenya. The council pointed out that no court proceedings, decision or judgment were such statements ascribed to the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The council emphasized that Justice Kekereekun neither presided over any case of Kanu at the Apex Court, where jurisdiction issue was argued, nor made any pronouncement to that effect. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, as claimed by the reports, did not write any formal letter to the Kenyan government or Kenyan High Commission apologizing on the issue of arrest of Kanu and his trial. 8 deaths with over a score of casualties have officially been confirmed by emergency authorities in the Wednesday truck crash explosion at Karu Bridge along Nyanya-Kefi Expressway. Abdullahi Ajia, who has been monitoring trends since the incident happened, has more to tell us.
Well, in the aftermath of the Wednesday unfortunate accident at the Karu Bridge, agencies are still taking stock of what had been burnt down by the accident. And as we speak, the evacuation of carcasses off the road is still ongoing by security agencies and other relevant agencies concerned. Another important thing that the security agencies have to contend with is the overwhelming crowd of onlookers and commuters who have come to loiter around to see what had happened.
So we should return back to the old timing. You know, we are at a certain period of peak periods. These big vehicles should be stopped from mixing with smaller vehicles, and they can move later at night and so on. So that if such a thing happens, the chances are that we won't have human casualties.
What we did was triage. Those that sustained injuries, we immediately carried them to the various hospitals. Then the one that we carried last were the dead bodies.
We have 6 dead bodies, and this morning when we went through the hospitals, we have 2 dead bodies. About 8 people are in custom hospital, about 11 people are in National Hospital, and about 10 they are also in the custom hospital.
Definitely, when we got here, there was heavy hold up, so we are waiting for traffic to go slow. The next thing was trailer don't fail brake, then boom, 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 boom. Next thing we hear was fire, outbreak. Everybody was running for his life. Myself, I fire my face. I was trying to defend myself as I got these wounds. Then I ran out, had an explosion. There's some good Samaritans. Good Samaritans helped me to push out the vehicle, pull it out to this place. If not, it would have got burnt.
My strong view about this have remained the same, that there is a need to introduce a barricade, a very strong barricade that will come down to the level of the sizes of or the height of the vehicles. You want them to access the road during working hours, so that when the roads are free, that these are the time that these vehicles can pass. But at this hour, from the hour of 4, because of the hold up in Yanyam, and having the mindset, having the knowledge that it's a descending journey, that at this hour of 4 or 3:30, this barricade should be blocked. Once it is blocked, it is locked. At that hour, no vehicle carrying cement, carrying heavy duty vehicles can access this route any longer. But after that hour to 9 o'clock, you open it for them to pass.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has directed a thorough investigation into the tanker explosion that resulted in multiple accidents and loss of lives in Karu, Abuja on Wednesday night. The president condoled with family members who lost loved ones in the inferno, which happened at the peak hour. He ordered priority treatment of the injured in various medical facilities in the capital city. The president directed security agencies, particularly those concerned with road safety, to pay closer attention to traffic around the capital city's entry and exit points and prayed for the souls of the departed and the grace of the Almighty God to comfort families that have lost their loved ones. And Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has expressed deep sadness over the unfortunate tanker explosion which occurred on Wednesday at Karo Bridge along the Abuja-Kefi highway, leading to the loss of many lives and property. In a statement by her senior special assistant on media, Busola Kukoyi, the First Lady commiserates with the first FCT minister, families of the deceased and the injured, affected business and property owners, as well as the people of Abuja over this sad incident. She urges owners and drivers of vehicles, especially articulated vehicles, to ensure the roadworthiness and good condition of their vehicles before putting them on the road to avert a recurrence of such incidents. While praying God to grant the souls of the departed eternal rests and their families the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss, the First Lady also wishes those wounded a speedy recovery. We take a break on the news. Stay with us. We now take the story on the Senate's approval of the state of emergency declared on Rivers State by the President.
Plenary commenced with a communication from President Tinubu on the official gazetting of the proclamation of state of emergency in Rivers State, which require validation from the National Assembly. Senate leader Okoyemi Bamidele then moved a motion for Senate to resolve into an executive session to enable the presiding officer brief the Senate on the circumstances that led to the proclamation and the current state of affairs in Rivers State.
I move, pursuant to Order 135 of our rules, that the Senate now goes into a closed session.
Resolutions reached during the closed session were adopted by a voice vote.
The Senate invokes the powers conferred on it by Section 305, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, and approve the proclamation of state of emergency declared by Mr. President in Rivers State of Nigeria. The Senate further directs that the declaration of the state of emergency stated in the proclamation document and the mandate of Mr. President to review, and hereby mandates the President to review and even to terminate the state of emergency at any given time, but not later than 6 months. The Senate further resolved that Section 11, subsection 4 be invoked, providing the National Assembly the authority to set up a joint ad hoc committee of both chambers to oversight the administration of Rivers State henceforth. The Senate further resolved that a committee to reconcile the warring factions in Rivers State should consist of eminent Nigerians. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the closed session?
The approval by the Senate fulfills the constitutional provision. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
International Day of Happiness is celebrated on 20th of March every year. For the year 2025 calendar, the day seeks to promote happiness as a key factor in leading a healthy and disease-free life. Charles Alpha tells us more on the significance of the day.
Recognized by the United Nations as a fundamental objective of human life, the United Nations prioritizes the importance of happiness, advocating governments and international organizations to nurture conditions that foster happiness, protect human rights, and incorporate well-being and environmental sustainability into policy frameworks as outlined in the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. The United Nations stresses that governments should uphold peace and social order, ensuring efficiency in areas such as taxation, legal system, and public service delivery.
Let us remember that every new year and every day is a chance for a new start, and one that must guide us all forward, inspiring us to bridge divides and foster unity, to commit to peace, dialogue and mutual respect.
In line with the goal, the United Nations declared March 20 as the International Day of Happiness in 2012. The theme for this year's International Day of Happiness is caring and sharing. Highlighted in the 2025 Happiness Report is the emphasis on the importance of compassion and community in fostering global well-being. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And joining us in the studio to speak on the day is the country representative of Global Peace Foundation, Reverend John Joseph Hayab. You're welcome to NTA International Studios.
Thank you for having me, and happy Day of Happiness. Since we are happy, and let's celebrate the day with happiness.
We wish you same, and we hope everybody is happy at this moment. Let's begin with understanding what happiness is.
Yeah, I think there are two fundamental things about happiness. Number one, happiness is a universal goal. No tribe is exempted. No identity is exempted. Every human being wants and desires to be happy. Number two, happiness is a fundamental human right. Children, the old, men and women have a right to be happy. And so for the United Nations to declare the 20th of March as a day of happiness, they were out to promote something that every human being share, every human being desire, every human being aspire for. And happiness is what you must dream, desire, and work to be happy every day. So in this celebration, we celebrate to remind ourselves that, look, the best we can do and to bring out the best in each other is happiness. A community where people are happy, they will be productive. A community where people are happy, they will really live in peace. A community where people are happy, there will be understanding. A community where people are happy, there will be progress. So as a nation, let me come back to Nigeria. If we will promote and advocate for happiness in our communities, promote and advocate for happiness in our states, promote and advocate for happiness in our nation, then the nation will become more and more productive. Imagine someone who leaves home to work and is not happy. You know, that day he will not work. The fact about it is that instead of him being productive, he will be disastrous to work.
Okay, you established happiness is for everyone, it's free. How do you relate this year's theme, caring and sharing, with happenings around the world and Nigeria in particular?
In our human relations, we are interconnected. And in our interconnection, there's a desire for us to help, to care, and to share. You see, early this morning, I read something that really touched my mind. Someone said, a preacher, that if you are rich and you cannot support anybody, you cannot make somebody happy because of your riches, you are not a rich man. If you are strong and you cannot support anybody, you cannot make anybody happy because you are strong, you are a weak person. So in making happiness real, we need to be supportive of one another, we need to be caring of one another, we need to share with one another whatever we have. And this is what is needed in this time, or at this time in our country. I want to challenge Nigerians that the best we can make and take advantage of this day to be happy is to be caring and sharing. We have less privilege. You know, this day is being celebrated this year at a very important time. We have Ramadan going on and we have Lent going on. And what are the key messages of Ramadan and Lent? Caring and sharing.
Thank you so much for the key message that you have given out there. Thank you, Reverend John Joseph Hayab, for coming. And that is where we end the news at this moment. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu, and on sign language has been Precious Ozemene. Thanks for watching.